Hello, everyone. Welcome to our support group leader roundtable. It is a joy to have you with us today. I am Clemi Alvarez Pisillo with PMD Alliance and delighted to be your facilitator today. So to get started, we're going to start reviewing our collaboration agreements. And for the recording purpose, we ask you that you mute your microphone so we don't have background noise, unless you are ready to ask a question. And the goal of these roundtables is to always build relationships, build collaborations, and get to know your other fellow support group leaders. So please pay attention who's here, who can you connect with and collaborate. So to get us warmed up, we are going to start with a chat storm. And we would like to hear from you in the chat, your opinion when a participant asks for medical advice, is, asking for crisis support or guidance outside your role. What is your first response? And let's see, we will review the chat to see what some of your responses are. Some examples that we gave here in the screen is, for example, that you're having a hard time. You can listen, offer support, and remind them that your role here is as a peer leader. You are not a therapist, you're not a doctor, you're a peer leader. There you go. Dave said, I am not a doctor, but I may want to. It's good for me, but I may want to consider. Okay, thank you, Dave, for that. Someone else says, I usually say I'm not a medical expert and to contact their doctor or therapist. Beautiful. Someone else said, I ask who their proper person would be. Doctor, nurse, therapist. Tell them to contact them and share their experience. Thank you for that. Another one says, I'm not a doctor. Please talk to your doctor. Someone else is sharing, validate the importance of the concern, urge discussion with, the medical provider. Thank you for that. And Christina says, use my nursing background, but direct them to their provider. Beautiful. Someone else says, help them to frame their needs as something that can be addressed and who might provide that help. Someone else shares, may have some materials that will help you. Beautiful. Connect them to local resources. Yes. Give them local numbers and refer them to the Parkinson's Foundation hotline. Wonderful idea. Thank you, Karen, for that suggestion. Someone else said, okay, something else related to that. Thank you, Greg. And Laura says, I am a registered nurse. So this one can get tricky, but always recommend they contact their own doctor. Beautifully said. Thank you. Seems like we're all in agreement that we need to encourage our participants to connect with their doctor. Yes. Thank you, everyone. And we are going to go to our next activity. And we always want to hear from you. In the end, you are the experts. So we are going to ask you to respond to our poll. And our friend Kelly here. Yes, ma'am. Hi, Janie. We are doing the poll right now, okay?
Hello.
Yay. Thank you. Can you hear us?
Okay. Let me know when we're ready.
Okay, I will, Janie. Thank you. Okay, so Kelly, are we ready to launch the poll? There we go. Question number 1. Here we go. How confident do
I'm
you
so
feel
sorry.
managing challenging situations that may arise in your support group? Do you feel very confident, somewhat confident, unsure, or not confident at all? Then we go to question number 2. What boundaries, policies, or group practices have helped you create a safe and supportive environment? You can select all that apply. And your choices are setting clear group guidelines and expectations at the beginning, when they join the group or when you start the group, establishing confidentiality agreements or reminders, defining the role of support group leader, and creating boundaries around medication outside meetings. Have you done any of them or all of them? You can select all that apply. And the last question, number 3. What resources would be most helpful for you as a support group leader? We would like to know if you think you need a liability and risk management guidance, or how to handle crisis situations, setting and maintaining group boundaries, or managing difficult conversations or conflicts. This would give us great ideas on future topics for our support group leader roundtables. All right. A lot of you have been able to respond. About 61% of you have responded. And we're going to start reviewing some of the results that we are seeing already. So for question number 1, seems like most of you, about 50% of you, are very confident that you can manage challenging situations that may arise in your support group. For question number 2, seems like most of you, about 83% of you, are setting clear group guidelines and expectations at the beginning. When you start your group, congratulations, everyone. That is so needed. And if you need more guidance on these guidelines and expectations, we have our on-demand training in our PMD Alliance website. And also we have the support group leader guide that can help you with these expectations and confidentiality agreements as well. And number 3, what resources would be most helpful to you? Let's see. Most of you agree that it would be very helpful to have setting and maintaining group boundaries, and also how to manage difficult conversations or conflicts. Thank you, everyone, for your responses. It is very helpful. And if you need more time, because about 81% of you have responded the poll, we're going to give it a little bit more time. We're going to leave the poll available. We're not going to close it while I do my introduction to the topic today. Okay? So thank you for that. In today's topic, we're going to talk about navigating leader liability. Such a great topic of interest. We have to protect ourselves and we have to protect our members as well. And for that, we have 2 very special guest speakers today. And you notice one of them just arrived. So thank you for being here, Janie Williams from Kentucky. She's the executive director of Parkinson's in Motion in Kentucky, and she's also a PMD Alliance ambassador. To connect with Janie, you can scan the QR code that will take you to her website and learn more about her and how to connect with her as well. Janie has been leading Parkinson's in Motion since 2018, and she offers a support group and also exercise classes. So she has a lot of experience as a person living with Parkinson's, as a support group leader, and as a former judge as well. So that's why she's our special guest speaker today. And to partner with Janie in this topic, we also have a very special friend visiting us today, Dr. George Ackerman. He's a reserve police officer, lawyer, business instructor, caregiver, and a PMD Alliance ambassador. George is the full package. And to connect with George and learn more about him, you can scan the QR code that will take you to his website. So we are super excited and thankful with Janie and George for being here. And we're going to let Janie get started. Are you ready, Janie?
Oh, yes, I'm
Jane
finally
is so
ready.
committed. She's connecting from her car. See, that's how we support group leaders roll. We do it from anywhere and everywhere, right? Welcome, Janie. Thank you for
Thank you so
joining us
much.
today.
And I am so apologetic of how awful I've been to hold this up. Um, I am in Lexington today. I have things that go along with study groups and a study that I am in at the University of Kentucky. So that's taken a lot of my time recently, but um, I'm glad to be here with you all. I play and Clemmy, you're amazing. We'll talk about how amazing Clemmy is in a little bit. I mean, you're as rattled as I've been. There's Clemmy in the background who just smooths everything out, and she always does. Um, so I want to talk about the support group liability. Um, now, how much time do you want me to take Clemmy talking? About 10 minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So the toolkit that Clemmy has given you is excellent.
All still here, but since Janie is on the road, I think she lost connection and she froze. But while she comes back and connects, we have George here to help us tag team. And hey, George, welcome. We're going to wait for Janie to connect and we'll let her continue as well. So, welcome, George.
Thanks. It's great to see everyone. Some of you are family, some I hope to get to know. This is a very important topic. In case you don't know me, my name is George Ackerman. I'm a police officer and lawyer in Washington and in Florida. I done a lot of my life, but it all kind of came to a pause when I lost my mother, best friend, 7 years ago now due to Parkinson's. And today we advocate in her memory, but for everybody still battling and their families, because no one like we felt should ever feel alone. But this group today, it's an honor to be with you. You're all experts, so don't really consider myself an expert because every day, every journey is so different. But as an attorney, kind of saw a little bit different perspective because I was also a care partner. But there's no wrong answers. Of course, the most important thing, in my opinion, is to always protect yourself because I think everyone is in this to help others, but we also don't want to open ourselves up to liability. So I just want to say thanks for the opportunity, but also your time.
So, Janie is back actually,
Oh,
so
there we
we
go.
can go back in order.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Janie,
I'll be
hopefully you
here.
have
Thank you.
connection now.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're just going right here and we're stopping and we won't be moving again. So, um, I was just talking about preparing for the meeting and recapping after the meeting because those two things are so important. You prepare and it never goes like you expected, never. So you make notes about what you did after it's over and you learn so much from that. I think that's just a really important thing to do. As far as I want to say something about leader liability. Um, you really can't take this too lightly. It's kind of encompassing of all that is important for you to be a good leader, but to give your group and each individual in there, whether it's a care partner or a patient, that you're careful with how you treat them because um, if you are kind to people and not always just kindness, but it takes being firm. Sometimes it takes knowing what to do. And here I am on the cusp of not being prepared because my car wouldn't get where it needed to be when it needed to be. But if you are kind to your people and you care about your people, all of that's going to fall into place as far as leader liability. But in our support group, in our not our support group, but in our whole organization, have a liability policy that your insurance agent is who you go to ask about that. It's usually ours is something I don't really know that much about it because someone else handled that, but it ensures things are covered. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, the things that you can get into that you didn't intend because there can be people that are just kind of off kilter. There are people like me. I was scrambling for my medicine, and you can get in such a funk when you're doing those things. And sometimes people get mad, and sometimes all kinds of things happen. And so this policy that you can get from all the different, there's somewhere you can get your policy. And I can talk to anyone more about that wants to know. But it would just be a real simple, very inexpensive. I believe ours is around $100 a year or something. It's just not an expensive thing, but it is something that you need to look into. And I think the things that we get into is trying to solve too many problems. First of all, you should be speaking if you're the support group leader. We call ours a resource group. So if you're the resource group leader, what happens is you should be the one that says less than anybody. I mean, you should be the one that's just listening. And we've had situations where we've had to monitor how people are either in a bad mood or they think they know it all, and you kind of have to work through those things. But just it's real important that you just calmly handle what comes up in the room. And I hope during the next part of the session that we'll be able to talk more about, like, answer your specific questions on what you've been involved in. I'm like George, I enjoy the Q&A part as much as anything else. I think you need to make a list take notes of Clemmy's toolkit and the best practices to reduce risks. Setting clear expectations. I mean, people don't need to think that this support group has anything to do with you being a doctor that diagnoses something. And I have people calling me all the time, and I have to be real careful because I have opinions about things, but they might not, they don't need to hear my opinion.
Okay, we keep losing connection, so hopefully she is back. And she was going over some of the pieces of the toolkit that it's going to be available with this recording. And, some of you role as a support group leader, which is, as a facilitator, creating a welcoming and inclusive environment, encouraging peer connection to share experiences, facilitating meaningful conversations, and like George and Janie said, facilitating that discussion. You're not the medical expert. You are the facilitator that makes these meetings possible. Connecting people with helpful resources and maintaining healthy group boundaries. And about that, we have George who can help us talk about creating healthy boundaries and staying out of trouble. Hey, George.
I'm back again for the moment, but thanks everyone for your time again. Honor to be with you as a unfortunate former, but caregiver and care partner. so much, it's so important to talk about. Won't get to all of it, but I know even today I'm still looking for support for grief. So it's so important. The person who comes to you might be the first time they ever actually reached out for another person's help. So you're the first line I think of, almost like emergency managers here in the Parkinson's community. You really can change a person's life, shape it, and really improve it and help them with some of the tough topics that they may feel alone. So today we'll talk a little bit about lessons from care partners. Obviously, you all know better. I don't have to repeat it, but we always say it. No journey is the same. So I'll never be able to tell one specific answer to one question because it can vary, can differ. I always joke when I teach at the police academy, people always say, what if this, what if that? Well, we could be there for 20, 30 hours, what ifing everything. So you're all, again, trained professionals in this area of support. And the toolkit too, in my opinion, it's a great tool because you can literally see it, go right to it, and use it as a guide. There are important areas, though. I'm an attorney, but not a medical professional. I have a podcast, if everyone doesn't know, and I get a lot people asking me medical questions. So as a support group leader, you have to be very careful because you want to help people, but you also don't want to open yourself up to liability. It's shocking in 2026 that we want to just do good, volunteer, and help others, but you can actually be at the end of a lawsuit, which I never want to hear because you've all been trained so perfectly through these important talks. So some healthy boundaries. Of course, we all already know don't give legal advice, but as support group leaders, you're all supporters, facilitators, encouragers. I like what someone said already. You don't really have to say much. You want everyone coming, even today. I don't like to say much, but want all of you and your opinions to be what guides those individuals seeking help. Also, listening without advice, sharing personal experiences. I always say people's journeys is what motivates me to keep going. Hearing them, listening to them, but supporting them is so key. Some of this stuff you probably, of course, already know because you yourself might be in not a leader also, but also in support groups daily for your own questions. Encouraging participants to speak to healthcare teams. With my mother, we actually had to hire a healthcare team. I couldn't do it all alone as a care partner. I was had my own medical issues. I'm actually sitting here now. I just had a spinal cord stimulator put in me. So as we speak, it's not easy, but you know me, don't stop for anything for awareness. And it's definitely been an experience. I need support for that. I actually went online for that prior. So with one of the toughest things though is being on the spot. You never want to feel as a support team leader or group leader, somebody throws a question at you and you don't feel comfortable to respond. There's nothing wrong with that. You can always say, oh, wait, let me get back to you. I don't feel comfortable right now giving medical advice, but let me look further into it. So there are so many tactics in a way. Teach a course on negotiation, ways to kind of turn the table in a positive way. There's a lot of things though. You never want to get involved with family disagreements. That's kind of over our position. I know one joke I always have or thing, my family used to gather on Sundays with my mother and we would have the biggest arguments and disagreements on what food to order. And today we can't have those because she's no longer with us. But if I went to a support group and started asking, what do I do? Everybody in my family screaming, you probably don't want to get too involved with family. So I think one big aspect of being a support leader is bringing it all back again and keeping it to that main question and topic that you're discussing in that meeting. Sometimes participants are looking for answers you can't provide, and you might want to, but you shouldn't. It's again, just limit your own liability. Some things you might want to do is listen first, validate feelings. This is a tough area. Obviously, this is Parkinson disease, dealing with people like myself who lost a loved one, some struggling today, some just diagnosed. So it's never really, again, one size fits all. Connecting people. I love somebody in the chat actually earlier, I noticed said to connect them with organizations. Well, you have, in my opinion, one of the best out there today, PMD Alliance. So if you are doing a support group for PMD, you can always, ask them to also reach out to PMD directly. There's so many incredible people behind the scenes too that might not be at your call, but also can answer questions, not just for the participants, but also for you. And again, there's the toolkit. Advocacy through connection. One area we mentioned earlier that I love is, again, journeys. If you, again, you don't know me, I've interviewed about 3,000 people around the world. I do it partially to motivate myself because I'm still grieving today, but I feel everybody is so inspiring. And the one journey that I'm not aware of is the one that really breaks my heart. Some of you here I know, and I love advocating with everyone because I feel together our voices are so much stronger, but it's incredible so much I learn each and every day, even though my mother can't learn from this or share it. I learn so much from each and every one of you. So as a team leader, try to, be compassionate, which you already are, I'm sure, but let them tell their story and their life and their issues and try to propel them and their ideas and make them feel valued too, because not only will they appreciate that, but they'll come back again. I went to a support group once when I was struggling. I didn't go back because it was kind of a tough topic. It was, more for caregivers battling today in their support. So I had lost my mother. I didn't feel I fit in there. So, what do you do with someone like me in there? Maybe just offer support. You also don't want someone getting too tough on topic. So many issues that come up and they can shift from just a talk to legal issues stemming, and you don't want that ever to penalize you. So a little bit again about me, not to go too off, but togetherforsharon.com was grown from my mother's journey. I always thought that, she was only 69 when we lost her. I felt she lost many, many years of her life due to her diagnosis and also her passing afterlife. So we thought we'd start a website. I never dreamt it would get to maybe 70,000 people today around the world. And it's really just for support. We don't want anything except that you're not alone. And I think through your incredible meetings, you're leading, you're changing lives, you're shaping lives, and you're really helping people for the better. Some of the other things that education definitely builds confidence, storytelling helps people feel like they're not alone. My mother, we didn't even know someone else had Parkinson's. I didn't know anyone else that was a caregiver of someone with Parkinson's when my mother was battling, so we didn't even know about support groups or think of it. I could have imagined today if I had all of you in my life, it would have changed the world. It would have showed her she wasn't alone. It would have maybe I would have had some questions, even if it wasn't all of them, they would have been answered. Also, encourage all of you to get involved with not just PMD, but your healthcare professionals. So there are many. I'm dealing a lot with Boston Scientific due to my own issue, but if someone has a question on DBS and you haven't had it or you don't know anyone who did, you can refer them to Boston Scientific or some of the other great organizations out there. To wrap up, because again, I don't want to take too much of your time, although I do love working with you all and learning from you. Things that are really important to leave with is leave with compassion, which is not something that you have to really learn. We all have that in ourselves, just have to allow it to come out. Protect yourself. That's the most important as an attorney. So today I'm not just an advocate or here for my mother. I'm really all for you. I can't be your attorney, unfortunately. That's a conflict of interest, but definitely, you can always contact. There are many attorneys out there in every community. Usually the elderly law community, the lawyers are great. Even though I'm a lawyer, we hired a lawyer. So one thing was a will. You're probably going to get, if your liability ever comes up, the biggest questions will be how do I, death with dignity, wills, trusts, states, and if you're not, just because I'm a lawyer doesn't mean I know everything about those. So I actually hired our own lawyer. So you might want to ask or tell one of the individuals in your meeting that they might definitely want to refer to a state certified attorney in their location, to never tell them to go to a different state. You got to, it's such a fine line. Definitely want to, again, learn a little bit about those things to say. And also never underestimate the power of this community. Without, a few years ago, I never heard of PMD. They came into my life just a year or two ago and have become not just one of my favorite champions, but individuals and people who on my toughest days, because I still miss my mother every day, 24/7, but I look to them, see their social media work, speak at these events and get to hug them in real life. But that's what drives me to never give up and to keep going. Feel free to always know that I'm available 24/7 if you're on social media or not. And also, we've written several books, but we donate 100% back to the community. And if you know anyone that does want to, now they're on Amazon. We don't got out of hand, but if you mention PMD, we'd love to donate all donations to PMD because that's what we support is the mission here. These meetings are incredible, and I hope again to be somebody in one of your meetings one day, but as a participant, because everyone definitely still always needs support. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, George, for sharing your experience as a care partner. And hi, Janie, welcome back. And we're going to encourage you also to get your questions ready for either of our guest speakers today. And you can type them in the chat or raise your hand. So, Janie, welcome back. Hopefully, better
Thank you.
connection.
Hopefully, this is the last one we have to get off of. I think that in George talking about the legal side of things, I serve on a lot of boards in our community, and people are always asking me questions, and they'll say, "Well, you're a lawyer," and I always say, "I am a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. I'm not this board's lawyer." So there's a strict line against how much of that you want to. Don't try to get the people there that are lawyers to answer your questions because they're really stepping out of their lane if they do that without a contract and all that. I think that the liability and the risk management is probably not that high that something horrible is going to happen in your support group meeting. You just need to be ready for it. And just don't try to answer their questions. When I read Clemmy's toolkit, the first thing I thought was stay in your lane. I mean, that is the answer to most of the problems with support groups are people getting out of their lane and trying to go further than their people without Parkinson's, maybe telling how other people feel, or people with Parkinson's trying to advise the other people. And you really got to be careful with that. And so I think a lot of that can be handled in the beginning by setting reminding everybody of the boundaries of what we're here for and what those boundaries are and how far, you can push that. So, um, that really helps, but you have to keep reminding everybody. I mean, they're not they're not lawyers and they don't understand a lot of times what you're talking about unless you explain it to them again. There's always going to be new people at your groups. So I just think it's something that really needs to be you need to pay attention to. It's just making sure you stay in your lane, and that'll keep you out of a whole lot of trouble. Don't you think, Clemmy?
Yes, Janie, I totally agree. And I think that the main message that we're gonna emphasize today is staying in our lane. In my field, in health coaching, is staying within our scope of practice. What are the
Yeah.
limitations? What are the boundaries of my role? We are peer leaders. We are not medical experts. And it's also important to always refer them to the resources. And that's where the national organizations are here to provide a compilation of resources that you can share with your group. Because we are here to share stories, not to give advice. So if you have any questions for our speakers, you can raise your hand or share your question in the chat. I see a comment from Tracy, which is also a question, and this may be for Janie. Says many groups are virtual only with participants in various locations. Should we do anything different than what you've talked about?
Well, I think you have to be especially careful. If I'm in a group, in a room, nobody's recording it, nobody else is listening, that's going to be, uh, it's going to, it's just safer. But when you're like here we are today, everybody that looks at this can tell that I was in and out for several parts of the session. Things got broken up, and I just wasn't ready on my journey to Lexington to be ready for the group. Um, and when it's all recorded, it's different. I think you have to be that much more careful. Um, that'd be my answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
It because it'll live forever, right? Whatever goes on the internet lives forever.
That is absolutely right. And that's why it will stay forever. The advice of be careful and stay in your lane. We have
Right.
another question from Greg that says, do Good Samaritan laws impact what we can say to support group?
Well,
Um,
again, I'm not going to give legal advice because I'm a lawyer, but I'm not the lawyer for this program. Yeah, and Good Samaritan laws are different in every state. So I think you just have to, if you're concerned about that, that's something you need to find someone to explain to you that's in your jurisdiction.
Luckily, Greg's in my state, so he can contact me.
Yeah, there
But I
you
don't
go.
think, I think more of that along the lines in criminal world, where someone's being harmed physically and I don't know if it really applies much in support. It's definitely interesting, but guess
Yeah,
what? Best advice, even though we're not supposed to give, is don't, if you think something is, you're not sure, unsure, then don't say it at all. Or again, refer them back to somebody outside, an expert and thing. But I would never yourself, even myself, I wouldn't, say anything on that here. Greg knows me, so contact me after. A great
Uh,
question. Very interesting.
Thank you for that, everyone. And yeah, and there is so much more to talk about and share. And for some of you that have been part of these roundtables every month, know that the next part of today's program is going to be our breakout rooms. And that will be an opportunity for you to connect with other support group leaders and share what are they doing in their with their group. Do they have liability insurance? What did they look for when they were looking for liability insurance? I personally do have liability insurance, a professional liability insurance that covers me as a support group leader as well. So it's up to you whether you want to go that route or not, but share and collaborate. So Kelly is going to help us setting up some breakout rooms. There are going to be about 4 or 5 people per room. And we're going to be there for about, what time is it? 40 minutes. Yes, 35, 40 minutes. And we're going to talk about some liability concerns or challenging situations that you may have experienced in your support group. And how did you handle that? Did you learn a lesson where you are like, oh, I really have to create guidelines for my group? I really have to set healthy boundaries about communication because I don't want people calling me on a weekend at midnight because they are having a crisis. I am not their therapist, their counselor, their social worker. We need to connect them with the right resources. So whenever you are ready, Kelly, we're going to have those breakout rooms and we're going to come back at 1:20 p.m. That's Eastern time. I'm in Maryland. And Janie and George, if they can, they are going to go to the rooms and answer your questions. When you're in your breakout rooms, please select note taker, someone that can share with all of us when we come back to the main room what you discuss in the group, some lessons you learned, and what would be important to share with other leaders. Those breakout rooms will not be recorded, so feel free to share and learn, collaborate. So, ready, Kelly? Welcome back, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully, with the extra 15 minutes that were not extra, were yours to start with, you had plenty of time to connect with each other and learn from each other. And hopefully, now you're ready to learn to share some lessons learned. So we're going to have the chance to have your designated note taker from each group share with us what you talked about, what cool resources or ideas you would like to share with the bigger group and the bigger audience, because this is being recorded. So given that, first of all, I want to check with you if you have access to the link that we shared in the chat, and that is the toolkit that Janie was referring to. It's a toolkit for support group leaders about leader liability, where we are, summarizing your role as a leader, how to create healthy boundaries, expectations and communication, and what kind of liability you should look into if you're independent or you are part of an organization. And if you have any questions about that toolkit, please reach out to me. I will be happy to talk to you about that. Okay, so now breakout rooms. Let's go with group number 1. After the mishap disconnecting you, we added some people to room 1, so hopefully you had more interaction and more ideas to share. And who in room 1 was the designated note taker?
You know what? We didn't have one, did we? Am I group
Yeah.
1?
No,
No,
you're group
Janie,
5.
you're not. That was
Okay.
Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, so we talked, interestingly enough, there's something called TSA Cares. So if a person with PD is traveling, it can make the process of checking in and boarding a lot easier and smoother. And I think you can look it up, make a phone call, and somebody calls you back and walks you through it. The person that was in the group said she got to the airport and there was somebody from TSA waiting for her at check-in and helped her all the way through. So it's important because I tell people, don't let PD steal your dreams. If you want to travel, go travel and deal with them. But this just makes it easier. We talked about some medication and Valev and Duolopa, and also suggested they contact a manufacturer's rep to get information to the group, and then let the doctor, it's borderline, but I can't prescribe medication. A doctor has to get the script pad and write it out. But I can always say this is something that helps other people. We talked about balance of care and caring for people, having empathy, and just legitimate care for another human being and what we're all comfortable with and what we're not. Listening, caring, sympathy, and something that I can't read my own writing. But that was
Micrographia strikes again.
yeah. No, it's not micrographia, it's sloppy writing.
Okay. There you go. That kind of writing. Thank you, Dave, for sharing. Anyone else from group 1 that you want to add something to what Dave shared?
Clemmy, Mother Nature is calling me.
All right, Janie.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Janie. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so then we merged room 2 and room 3. Let's go to room 4. Who was the designated note taker from room 4?
I think that might be us. Are we?
Okay, Antoinette.
We are.
Yes, that's you.
Randy, you're still here. You're supposed to be boxing. Do you want to say something real quick, Randy, and then I'll take up whatever you didn't. We didn't actually designate a note taker. We'll wing it.
Yeah, I don't. I have 5 minutes before I got to go boxing. Antoinette she's from Oregon. She's a care partner and she leads care partner meetings. We had Barb. She's a PD active member and she's from San Francisco. She does care partner groups also. And we had Roger. Roger he's been doing this for 21 years, and he's never met a stranger, and he loves to support people with Parkinson's. And I am a support group facilitator for two women only with Parkinson's groups virtually. So that was.
Thank you, Randy. So good to see you.
Thank you.
Looking great, and keep boxing.
I am.
Thank you. Antoinette, welcome.
Yeah, nice to meet everybody. I'm a newbie, and I'll say the same thing I said to all of them. You guys are the golden nuggets. It doesn't really matter how many experts we bring in front of us. The wisdom that comes from a group of actually doing this work. One of the things we actually touched on was value that we all get as leaders far surpasses any other aspect of this, and that keeping that top of mind helps focus on the positive. And that navigating, challenging things. Nobody had too many examples of actually something that felt like liability, kind of like a different word, which is, are you staying in the positive lane, or are you being catapulted into the crisis management? And that support groups really should strive to be in the first one. My background is as a coach, and so my experience with the liability is the fact that we really don't have any. That the truth of the matter is that an agreement that is understood between humans, as long as I don't libel somebody or do somebody, or you take an instruction out of context, but I don't have any control over that. If I'm not a professional, I'm not a professional. So if it makes you feel more comfortable, either insurance or an umbrella policy, say with your health, it's not an option. I think it's more about the liabilities to yourself as a leader to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and you feel supported yourself as a leader, and then where those resources are. One of the resources I brought up that overlaps with Barb, who's in our group, which I'm also going to ask, she said she got some specific takeaways. I brought up the Stanford Alliance, that they have an enormous amount of resources for all walks of life. And Robin Riddle makes her monthly newsletter or bi-monthly newsletter as consumable as possible. And one of the ideas that we've added around is, rather than bringing professionals, is actually to do watch parties, to treat that context of the education you all give and all the other wonderful organizations supporting Parkies, and to drive the conversation in a forward motion, as opposed to you as the leader having to feel like you have to become an expert on something, and you can rely on those vetted quality resources and then drive the conversation so that people can make it personal for themselves. So that's one thing that I have tried to do. So, Barb, do you have something like
that? My bit of inspiration was from your watch party idea. But in general, our group is, mostly wants to share. And I think that just trying to be compassionate and being a good listener goes a long way. One thing we're trying to do is build up maybe a Google group, and then people are asking to send things around, and I don't know if everybody wants everything, but with the group, they can decide how many pieces of information they want a week, or just once a week. And that way that people come up with, oh, check this website out, or here's something, checklist you should have. And so this way we could maybe build up more of a resource within our group, because things keep coming around. And yeah, I don't have any professional experience in facilitating or counseling, but I do have 4 children and 4 grandchildren, so trying to keep things going. It really helps in being a support group leader. Trying to think if we were talking about that liability issue. we were thinking of the crisis problem and the difficult situation problems, and the way we deal with the liability is that we pretty much say, upfront that we're not giving any medical advice, nobody's giving medical advice, and a few other disclaimers. So, but yeah, sometimes we're concerned about what if somebody needs to talk to someone right away, that pediatrics should have someone 24/7 who could, help a crisis person, let's say. But anyway, I've really enjoyed being here with y'all, and my first time. Now I think I'll know more about it. I'll be getting the newsletter.
Thank you and welcome, Barb and Antoinette. It is a joy to meet you, and thank you for sharing and for your ideas. Parties are always welcome. Support groups look many different ways and do different things. And something important from your group is the value of having a person like a librarian, per se, in a support group who has that compilation of resources. Where can we connect people to? What phone number to call? What website to visit? So thank you for that. Let's see, room number 5. Do we have John and William? Hi, William. And I am looking for John,
I had
but
to
I don't see
unmute myself. We were a totally
Yes.
undisciplined group. We lost one of our members. She disappeared from the screen and from voice, but Jane joined us, and that was nice. We didn't have a note taker unless John was taking notes. I think we talked a little bit about having the opportunity to have private insurance to cover you for volunteer activities. I think several of us have that as riders on a homeowner's policy or as an override of some sort. I personally gained some perspective about being probably a little more cautious in my group leadership piece because I have 2 roles. I'm a group leader in one respect, but I'm a very big advocate within our community. And as an advocate, I express my opinions a great deal. I probably have to modify that when I'm a group leader.
Okay. That is a very good point. Thank you. Thank you, William, and welcome. We appreciate you giving us that feedback and something to think about for all of us, because I think all of us are involved in advocacy as well. And support group leadership is part of advocacy.
And I see John is unmuted. He might want to add.
Yeah, I don't have much to add, and I'm a lousy note taker, unfortunately. But basically, I think what I was saying was similar to what William was saying, and that you just have to be careful. Things that you say on the support groups never die, and people could get very angry about it. I mean, you can look at the politics in the news today, and you can see examples of how people have really gotten burned by trying to do the right thing. And I think the one thing that was interesting is just the idea of having an insurance policy that covers you. I don't know what that costs, but if you carry a general liability package, which a lot of people do, just to protect against, things in their family, that might be helpful. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I really don't have much more to add. One of my big problems is poor memory, poor working memory. I forget things almost as soon as I hear them, which sounds like a
That's why
really
we're
bad
recording
excuse.
them. You and all of us probably, John, and thank you for that feedback and for sharing. And we have the last group, and we have Andy, Hazel, Kathy, Tracy. So Andy, where are you? He's a good note taker, by the way. You have to unmute, Andy. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Not really a good note taker, but yeah.
What did you guys talk about?
Well, basically, we talked about we really have no liability issues. You know, we
Good.
tell them at the big when they first come to the meetings that we tell them, you know, what's said here stays here. We're not experts. We're all different. You know, things like that, just to keep us safe. You know, if they have a specific question, we have a table set up, and they get all their lost you, and we give them information from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, from the Parkinson's Association, from PMD. You know, we got all kinds of information for them. You know,
Beautiful.
we got Michael J. Fox books. We give them. You know,
David
whatever.
Finney books. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Yeah.
And you know, this is an example of what can happen in a support group. Sometimes your speaker shows up late, or if you have a virtual group, the connection doesn't work, or you have the best meeting planned about a topic, but something comes up in the group and you end up talking about something else. And that is okay, because in the end, that's our role, to kind of lead the conversation where it goes, respecting everyone with compassion, because that's our role as facilitators. We call ourselves leaders because we take the initiative to donate our time to do this labor of love, because there is something for us as well. That purpose of helping others. That's why I do it. I am a support group leader as well, and that's why I appreciate you all for all the work you do. And please review the toolkit. It's a great resource that we put together for you as a reminder that stay within your scope. That is your role. We're not the experts. Each of you are the experts of your Parkinson's, of your story. So thank you so much to our speakers today, George and Janie, who had to disconnect already. And thank you to all of you for sharing your expertise with us. And we look forward to seeing you in September after Labor Day weekend. And we will be talking about how to engage your group, your community beyond the support group meetings. So thank you. We look forward to seeing you. We appreciate you and lots of love for you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.